Hey, did you hear that? Did you hear that little recording in progress? Oh, that's interesting. I was wondering if everybody else could hear that. Okay. I think Zoom got sued by somebody. I'm not sure. Okay. And that's why they created that little like verbal telling you now. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Kylie, did you have any classes in person at UW this quarter?
I did not. No, it was all virtual. But I did have some synchronous classes, which I hadn't had before. So it was nice to like be in a classroom with people at the same time.
Oh, okay. Welcome in. Hey, everybody, if you could go ahead and drop in the chat right now, just where are you zooming in from today? That'd be awesome. Just let us know where you're. And if it's in Seattle, please tell us like a neighborhood that you're in.
Traffic. Larcy says traffic.
Welcome in, everybody. We should, yeah. I never think of the music, Kylie. I never think of
Oh, the music. No.
Let's see here. Let's see here.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Come on in, everybody.
Hi, Carolyn. Good to see you. Welcome, everyone.
Daniel got his hair cut, I think, Kylie, don't you think?
Yes, I got to see Daniel earlier this week for planning an event we're going to talk about later.
I got my hair cut too. All right, just saying. Okay.
Looking good as always, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You too. You too. All right. All right. You too. All right, Daniel. So Kylie, are you living with your friends this summer too?
Yes, yeah. My current place, I'm staying until August, and then I'm moving for my last year to an apartment.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It's fun. It's nice to get to live with friends during all of this, even if we're not in classes together, doing Zoom University together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we'll get started here in just a second. Hey, okay, what were we going to ask them? Let's ask them.
Oh yeah. Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for joining. People have been putting where they're calling in from in the chat, but we also have a question to ask folks. And so our question now to put in the chat to respond to, is if you could pick a senator to sit down and talk with, which senator would it be? And I'd love to see like a little explanation too, because I'm thinking I can see people putting thought into this one.
And we'll get started right after this. What senator would you want to sit down with and why? Yell, have brownies, what would you do?
I like this. I like the mansion. You can see who's on team advocacy.
Did you put yours in, Kylie?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, Chris, that's a great thing about Cantwell. Good point. Good point there. She's not vocal about many things, right? Yeah. So far, it's Manchin and Warren are winning right now, but for very different reasons, I think. Okay.
David, I'm sorry, I missed the question. What are we typing in here?
We're asking people, what senator would you like to sit down with?
Good Manchin responses, folks. Yeah.
One more minute, folks, and we'll get started.
Oh, I like that response, John. Senator Ossoff and Warnock, see how it's going.
This is way richer than I thought it was going to be, Kylie, in terms of people's answers.
I told you, people are going to put thought into this one.
You all are way more thoughtful than I gave you credit for. Way to go. All right.
So David, the first one that popped into my mind, unfortunately, was Lindsey Graham, to try to understand where the heck has he come from.
Graham voted today. Do you see? He voted for a judge who will probably be who is the odds-on favorite to be Biden's pick for the Supreme Court when he picked.
Oh, really?
And Graham voted for her today.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. So what, we got 3 judges in, something like that. Woo, we're on a tear.
Yep.
3 judges.
First
40
Muslim
days.
judge, first Muslim federal judge in American history. Pathetic, and also a good step.
It's a good step. Like, we're infants. How many judges did Trump get in 4 years? 240 or something crazy like that?
Yeah. I'd have to look up, but yeah, it was in that number. Yeah.
We gotta ramp up the pace here, folks. Gotta work a little harder.
Okay, everybody. I'm gonna get us going here. You all came.
Okay, dogs.
What?
He's talking to his dogs. He's talking to the dog.
I'm gonna get us started. Y'all came and we said a half hour, and we appreciate your time. And we're gonna cover the material we want to cover. And anybody who wants to stick around for questions afterwards, we're happy to do that. But this is about the push for the people advocacy. That's what we're calling it. I'm gonna start by showing you my screen real quick here, and just take us over there. To our, well, yeah, I do. I want to show us our great graphic that Betty has put together, and I think Charles might have helped a little bit, but in my view, it's Betty that put this together, and you all might have seen this, but this is our advocacy page, and there's our great graphic for the push for the people, advocacy for the freedom to vote. That's what we're here to talk to you all about tonight. Okay, so I'm going to talk for about 10 minutes and tell us what we're doing. Kylie's going to give us about 5 minutes of a couple particular things, and then hopefully we'll be done by about 5:30, and we'll see whatever questions you all have. Okay, push for the people. This is our advocacy push right now for the next period of time. All right, so I'm going to do a different share now. I'm going to pop up my screen. Okay, so at Common Power, these are our touchstones always. What's our mission? Our mission is to foster, support, and amplify a democracy that is just and inclusive. That's why all of our full-time staff joined this organization. That's why we do the work that we do. We we fucking believe this. Okay. We really believe this. All right. So I know all you do too, but if you ever like are wondering, like, would we run through a wall for this? Actually, we have, we will. All right. And our daily work is this: 3 core, we call them fundamental principles: mindset, mojo, and mobilize. Our mindset is what we think democracy should be, just and inclusive, and that we have a responsibility to make it so by action. We're an action organization. We have a bias towards action. We do not seek perfection. We seek to try. We seek to try. Okay. Second, our mojo is how we do this. We do this work together in community and in teams, always. And we prioritize and amplify next generation leaders in doing this work. All right, that's core to who we are and who we believe we should be. That's our special kind of way we do things, together in community and teams with next gen leaders. And then mobilize. This is the outcomes that we're seeking. We seek to register and catalyze voters in key states, and we seek to follow the lead. And maybe we want to add the word amplify in there, to follow and amplify the lead of partner organizations. Okay. We are really committed to helping partner orgs do the work that they're doing. We are not here to replace them. We are here to multiply them. Okay. These 3 pieces: mindset, what we believe the world should be, and we have to act to make it so; mojo, how we think we should do our work; and mobilize, what are the outcomes we're seeking. These guide us every day. And we know that we tell you this all the time, and we know that you are bought into this. But I'm a teacher, folks, and I have the mindset of I can never say this too many times. All right, because it's so important. These things are so important. All right, now let's think about this in terms of the work that we do. I want to take these same characteristics and orient them in a flow chart for our work. We'll call it our workflow. We want to get all the way to the right, which is our mission. We want to get over there, and we have these pieces that we need to go through to get there. And we have a whole bunch of volunteers over here, and we need to move across the screen. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to move volunteers over to this mission work, and we're going to go through basically these tunnels of mindset, mojo, and mobilize. All right. So what's the mindset for us? That's our education. And we offer so much of that. It's lectures, it's workshops, it's lunch and learns, it's learning tours. It's a ton of stuff. And AJ and I and others, Larcy with Action Academy, are just thrilled the way that we've built out our education. So we do a ton of stuff to foster a certain mindset about a just and inclusive democracy, and that we have a responsibility to take action. Education anchors that space. But what I want to draw a picture for to you is of 2 different lanes of our way of working. We have an electoral lane and we have an advocacy lane. Okay. The electoral lane is, as you'll see in a second, has certain sets of goals, and it has our mojo plays out in certain ways. The advocacy lane has other very much aligned, but different goals. And the mojo plays out differently from electoral mojo. And so I think it's really, really important for us to kind of see these 2 different lanes and to know who we are as an organization. Okay. Who we are and why we do the work we do. Okay. So let's start, because we're an action organization. We believe in that mindset, that point number 2 of mindset, that we're going to take action. So let's start with mobilize, and I'm going to start with electoral work. What do we seek to do in the electoral lane? For mobilize, we seek in key states to register voters and to do election get out the vote work. That's the action we seek to do in the electoral lane. That's our mobilization. If we did not do this work, we would not be achieving our reason for being here as an organization. How do we get there for our electoral work? Well, this is where our mojo comes in. It's leader directed, particularly next gen leader directed. It's high in community. We build a lot of community, and we have close partnerships. We work with a New Virginia Majority or a UCAN vote or a Lucha in Arizona. Okay, we work with them. They know our names. We know them. We come, Charles and I take road trips around the country to go see them. All right. This is our electoral work. And this is why most of you are here, is this work. This is why, this is what we set out to create, was this, okay? This kind of work. Key states, voter reg, election, get out the vote work, next gen leader directed, but paired with older leaders too, high community, high connections with close partnerships. Okay, that's our electoral lane. It's not as easy to do electoral work when there aren't as many elections. So the season matters here. The season matters, okay? Our advocacy outcomes are this. Again, key states, what are we doing? We're pushing and pressuring elected officials. And what are we pressuring them on? To either block or to pass really good voting laws. We did a ton of this in 2020, 27 states to try to get them to expand voting during COVID. We've been working in 3 key states in 2021, Arizona, Georgia, and Texas. And we turned a couple terrible laws, or helped to contribute to a couple terrible laws becoming a little less terrible. And then in Texas, surprisingly, out of all 3 of them, the Democrats did the incredibly courageous thing and blocked the law, all right? The advocacy work then, the outcomes are key states pressuring electeds to get really good voting laws and to block bad voting laws, all right? It's not the same outcomes as Mobilize for electoral work. It's aligned, but it's a distinct set of outcomes. Now, in 2020, when we started doing advocacy work, we saw that this was essential in the COVID world to expand voting rights, voting access. We knew how important it was. So very important. And we pushed and pushed and pushed and had successes in so many states. And we've had what I'll call modest successes in 2021 in states, okay? But here's something that I have learned, and I have talked with Charles about this too. And so we're together on this, but we're also kind of arriving from separate directions on this, which is that our mojo doesn't exactly align as cleanly with the advocacy work, okay? Because this is what advocacy looks like. It's much more self-directed. It's low community in terms of our building community, and our partnerships are slight. They are slight partnerships. They don't know our names. They don't know us. We don't really know them. When we're on conference calls, there's dozens to hundreds. Okay. We have learned this about our advocacy over time. Now, there might be other ways to do advocacy work. Okay. But the way that we've done it and the way that we've experienced other orgs doing it, it's very self-directed. It's low in community building, and the partnerships are slight. This is something we've learned. This is something I have learned in heading up the advocacy team. It's something that Kylie has helped me to understand a little bit about the way that advocacy works too. So here, I'm going to close this slide up with a very important point, okay? All that stuff above the line, that's our heartbeat, folks, okay? That's our heartbeat in Common Power. Education through electoral work that has next-gen leaders and other leaders at the heart of it, high community, close partnerships, voter reg, get out the vote work. I'm trying to make this like a text. You know how you put a heart on a text? All right. I'm pretty proud of this. Okay. I'm pretty proud of this. All right. That's our heartbeat. And we are going to return to that in force. In force. We have been so strongly desiring to return to it that we got engaged in Texas and in Georgia recently. Okay. We are going to find other places, and 2021, Virginia's now here. And then in 2022, we're going to be back out there in force. This is the heartbeat of CP. Okay. But the advocacy work, folks, is super important and can't be ignored, especially when there are signature moments in time. Especially when there are signature moments in time. 2020 for COVID was one of those moments. 2021, trying to block these bad voter suppression bills is a moment, and trying to pass S1 and HR4 are another moment, okay? But we're not gonna live in the advocacy space. We are not going to forever and always do advocacy work. It's gonna be targeted moments in time, okay? Targeted moments in time. So my last slide is, this is a targeted moment. We're calling this the push for the people, advocacy push for the people, okay? What's our mission? Well, if we're gonna have targeted moments, we're gonna have a very clear mission then. Our mission for this advocacy work right now is to pressure US senators on 2 pieces of legislation. HR1, S1 is the same piece of legislation, although it's about to be modified in the Senate by the Democrats. It's going to be modified. So it's going to truly leave behind HR1 and become a new bill, S1. Okay. And HR4, which is the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which is not coming until fall, the Democrats tell us. Okay. But this is our mission, to pressure senators on this. The filibuster is wrapped in this, but so is a whole lot of other dynamics about the fight for democracy. So we just want to do the pressure. We're going to do the pressure. And our daily work in our push for the people is going to be this. Here's the action steps for everybody tonight. Join our advocacy group. We're going to have 4 phone banks a week for the rest of June as we push on S1, and we push and push. We have direct to senator contacts for all the Democrats and a small number of Republicans to push and push and push on them. We have a series of education events that are going to be either directly or related to this work. We're going to have a workshop on the 23rd of June, and we're going to have an advocacy event that will be located in person, but will be available to all people in the CP community on the 30th, okay? We're here to ask you to do this with us, to make a push for the next 20 days or so, okay, for S1. Now, I don't know if S1 will be over in the next 20 days, but I do know that the next 20 days is the first time it's actually coming to the floor in the Senate. This is the moment. This is a moment, and so we're gonna push, all right? Now, I'll come off a screen share here and take us over, and Kylie's gonna tell us a little bit about those last 2 events, but I'm gonna pop up the advocacy page because all of this information is over here on our advocacy page, all right? I don't think it was Maggie and Charles and Betty, I'm not sure, Wole maybe, who put this stuff together, but it's all over here, okay? So how to join us? Here's step 1, join the advocacy group. When you do that, you'll be joining our new community platform, Mobilize. We believe in Mobilize, and this will be a transition for us as a community. We know that. Trust me. Believe us when we know what it means to make a digital transformation. We know, and we're going to ask you to come with us. But we're also going to make it as easy as possible for you. If you don't want to come with us and you just want to stay on emails or go to our website, you can do that. Mobilize allows that to happen, okay? So you join the advocacy group. You can find all our events on our Push for the People events page. And then you log your work here. That's it. 3 steps. That's what you're going to do. I'm going to click on here. This is the events page. And Kylie, you can take it from right here and talk about, please, the 23rd and the 30th, which is not on here yet, the event for the 30th. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, David. I'm really excited to share about these 2 events. I am really proud to be working on both of them with other members of the team. So I'll first start with this workshop on the 23rd, which you can register for already. I'm going to put the link right in here to register for our Democracy Amplifiers workshop. Thanks, David. Awesome. So on Wednesday, June 23rd at 5 p.m. Seattle time, we're going to be hosting a workshop that we've called the Democracy Amplifiers Workshop. And so this workshop is going to have 2 parts. One is going to be focused on storytelling and messaging. So when we're talking about democracy and why it matters to us, it's really important because we have to amplify our base. As y'all know, The other side is very loud and they're adamant and their opposition to expanding democracy. So we have to be equally as loud and to share that this is something that people really, really want. And so we're going to have a workshop that'll teach us how to do that, to share our own stories and to message when we're talking about democracy. And then we're going to have a second part that my wonderful teammates, Betty and Bert, are going to take over that'll work on how to use social media as an advocacy tool, specifically through this tool called Demcast, which will go over everything at the workshop. So if you're interested in learning more about how to talk about democracy and how to share this, both, you can take these lessons in person, and also we're going to show you how to do it on social media. So that's that workshop on Wednesday, June 23rd at 5 p.m. That one will be virtual, so folks can register via Zoom using the link that I just dropped in the chat. And then the second event that isn't on the calendar yet, but will be soon, is our in-person event for Push for the People. And this is going to be a hybrid event. So as David said, it'll be in person in the Seattle area, but it'll also be remote. And so everyone can engage. And will really go over where we are in terms of democracy and this advocacy work and what's ahead for the summer. And there will be more details to come in terms of location, but you can expect it in the evening in Seattle time, and then a way to join remotely for folks that aren't in the Seattle area.
That's on the 30th, right, Kylie?
30th, yeah, June 30th.
Teacher rule, say it 5 times, teacher rule. It's on the 30th, okay.
On the 30th, yeah, in the evening, Pacific time, but more details to come, as I said.
Okay, one last thing I'm going to say, and then I think Charles has got a couple things to say here. But Daniel's on this call, and Daniel is our mobilize. He's our mechanic. He's our go-to person. All right, like he's the AAA of our mobilize. Okay, he's the one who will come to your house virtually or maybe in person and help us to understand how to do it. Daniel, how's it? What's your role specifically on this, Daniel?
Exactly everything that you said, David. Especially the coming to people's homes across the Seattle area and potentially in other areas of the state as well. So let me know. But what my actual role is to help folks with onboarding onto this platform. We expect that it's going to be pretty easy. Set out some pretty clear instructions on how to join. However, we get that things can get kind of complicated sometimes. I'm going to be hosting a couple of office hours tomorrow. You can find those events on our website. They're from 10 to 11 a.m. and 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. I will also have 3 separate office hour training sessions next week at different varying times, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Would love to see you. So if you need any help or support at all, just please feel free. Email me anytime, Daniel@Common Power, or stop by one of those sessions, and we'll make sure that you get on this platform really easily. So thanks, David.
Sure. And everybody, it's like a Facebook, kind of. It's like a Facebook. All right. Yeah.
It's like a Facebook, but it's not Facebook if you hate Facebook. Okay. So if you know how to use Facebook, but you were thinking, what if CP had a Facebook that wasn't owned by Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah, I like to think of myself as a much more benevolent Mark Zuckerberg. So yeah, it's not going to be one of those situations.
That's good.
Yeah.
And a mechanic, apparently. That's good. I like how you're adding to your Swiss Army knife and skill sets here. I don't know how much more needs to be said on this. I think that you all understand the moment, and it is becoming more and more dire. It is the battle lines are being drawn. The hill, just how steep it is to climb, all of that is becoming more clear. This is in some ways for CP a response to what we see going on in this country, and it's a continuation of what we've always done. So this shouldn't surprise you. It shouldn't surprise you that David, being who he is, sees what's going on politically and thinks we've got to ramp things up. And it shouldn't surprise you that our response is this multi-layered response. It includes educational things, it includes community elements, and includes us doing some work together. That one of the cool things that we're doing, because now we can do this, is we're adding some of these in-person events. Now, David didn't say this part, I don't think, but there's a possibility that there's a trip that may happen in conjunction with our advocacy work, depending on how much things ramp up on the left as we put pressure on folks in DC. There's talk of a rally possibly in DC that insiders like David know about. Maybe he's gotten invited. I don't know. Obama doesn't call me, so David's got a different line in than I do. But that could be a part of it as well, because we're looking for more ways to connect, more ways to bring the community together. That said, in some ways, this is practice. This is practice for the stuff that's the meat and potatoes of what CP does really well. And that's fighting these elections. It's getting folks registered to vote. It's fight for candidates in parts of this country. And it's bring along young leaders like Kylie to continue the fight after we're done. I love the push for the people. I love the work that Betty's done. I love that it feels like it's a cohesive message. I love that we're right up there with the rest of the coalition and DFAT and doing this work and doing it the way we're doing it. And I'm proud of us. I'm proud of us.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel, is Daniel still here? I was just going to say about Mobilize. Somebody asked, is Mobilize the same thing there where you sign up for phone banks, or is this a different Mobilize? This is a different Mobilize.
This is a different Mobilize. Yeah, they want to confuse us. I don't know, but there's a mobilize.us and there's a mobilize.io. .us is highly political. It's exactly what you know. Like when you hear Mobilize links, it is the stuff you sign up for phone banks. Mobilize.io is this other thing entirely. That's a community organizing platform online. It just happens to have the same name. The most important part to remember is that it's .io. And actually, if you go to commonpower.io, it will bring you right to this website. So you don't even have to remember the Mobilize part. It's just .io part at the end of Common Power, and you're there.
Everybody who signed up for the advocacy group will get an email tomorrow morning from Daniel that will invite you to join. It's going to take you 2 minutes to sign up to join, and then Daniel's available to kind of show you around. But really, you don't ever have to do a single thing on there because your emails are still going to come to you. They're still going to come to you as emails. Okay. I give a ton of credit to the folks that are leading our Mobilize push, Maggie and Charles and Daniel. They really have thought through like, what's the platform that can do the best kind of community engagement with us without forcing everybody to pick up these apps and become super nimble on all this. All right. So sign up for advocacy group, then you'll sign up for Mobilize, or you can go directly to the advocacy page and sign up. Those are your action steps. All of the phone banks are on the web page or on the events page. All of the lectures and the workshop are on the events page. Well, our program is now done. If you are ready to go, if you want to go, I will now transition us into what we'll call more political strategy conversation for a few minutes. Okay. So here's what I want to, do you know, Damadina, you do not have to sign up again for advocacy. Nope. If you're already signed up, you're already signed up. So we are not going to lose any sleep about Joe Manchin. Okay. We are not. All right. We are not in this battle for the next 3 weeks. We are committed to a voting justice arc that is long-term. And whatever happens in the next 3 weeks happens, and we will do our pressure and our work. But you know what? You know what would really help in the long term is to hold the House and win a couple Senate seats in 2022. Joe Manchin becomes fucking relevant then. All right. At that moment for the filibuster. So the reality is that, look, Manchin never voted to repeal the filibuster, even when they repealed it to vote on judges. He has never voted to repeal it. So let's not lose any sleep about what Joe Manchin does. We are here to do our work, pressuring him right now, all of them, to get as many Democrats on board, to get a few Republicans to find their conscience, hopefully, and to do everything we can. And then to come back and work hard for HR 4 when it comes up in the fall. That's what we're going to do on advocacy. Meanwhile, we got elections to win in Georgia, in Virginia. We're traveling to Virginia in a couple months, folks. We're going to Virginia in a couple months. All right. So we've got work to do in that above the line electoral work. So, all right, let's see. Let's see if there's some other questions. Kylie, what do you got? What do you thought you got, Kylie? I'm just putting you on the spot. What do you think, Kylie?
What do I think? Just in general?
About all of this, like this
About
whole,
all of this.
yeah.
I'm excited. I think the way that I'm most excited about is the way that we're doing this education and like the way that we're moving through our values, because I think that's really important to visualize. And so I think that's what I'm most excited for, is that when we go back to doing what we love, that we'll be better educated and be ready to really engage in those communities fully.
Totally. And we are investing, as you well know, you've been a big part of it, Kylie, in making those teams better than ever, right? Those fieldwork teams. We're not going to put the same kind of work into our advocacy work because that is a one-off project thing. But for our fieldwork teams, our electoral work, like that's non-negotiable. Got to get that stuff as good as possible. Jim, you asked who's our Republican targets. If you mean in our advocacy work, we're contacting Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Bill Cassidy in Louisiana, Burr in North Carolina. There's a couple more in there. But if you're talking about who we're trying to beat in 2022, well, we're starting with the open seats in 2022 in Pennsylvania and North Carolina. We want to win in Ohio. We want to win there. Are we going to try to win in Wisconsin? Hell yeah, we're going to try to beat Ron Johnson. So, but we have our CP7 states, so we will be dedicated to any states there that we can. Not all of them have a Senate race. So I want to be really clear that we have 7 core states, but every election year we will add a number of other states that will be a focus for us. Florida will be a focus for us as one of the additional states in 2022. So will Pennsylvania. So probably will be New Hampshire because we got to hold Maggie Hassan's seat. Okay, probably Nevada. We got to hold Jackie Rosen's seat. All right.
Yeah, I was thinking about for this push for the people, but thanks for the other information too. That's very useful. But I just wondered who you thought was left of the Senate that still had a conscience on the Republican side. So thank you.
Toomey as well, right? It is slim pickings. The fruit is not low hanging. Okay, on the Republican side. But that's okay. We have a bigger push here, a bigger endeavor. Hayden said, are we still planning on targeting all the Republicans who voted against election certification 2022?
And then Deborah's got a question too after that.
Okay, Hayden, I don't think we're going to be able to target all of the Republicans who voted against election certification. That's 148. It's 148. Although I like your ambition. Okay, I like your ambition. What was Deborah's question, Charles? It's up the chat. I can't.
I just raised my hand, David.
Oh,
I have 2 quick questions. One is, has the direct, first, I really love everything you're saying, and you and Kylie are saying, thank you for all of this. The direct to senators contacts and messaging, has that changed with pressure for it to be the end of June yet? I sent it to all my friends before to try to get them to do it, and I want to send it again. So
the scripts are updated.
okay, good, thank you.
The scripts have been updated.
And the second thing is, as you know, I'm not a huge lover of talking on the phone. And I have signed up with Common Cause through the end of the month, twice a week for texting. Would you prefer we just kind of gut it out and do the phone banking, or what do you think?
We are not,
honestly.
Yeah, we are not offering texting as an option at this time because it's an off-ramp that actually thousands of other Americans can deliver on pretty easily. Okay, texting. It turns out we have seen in our advocacy work that the people, when we show up in phone banks, we're more than half of the phone banks most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a reality. That is something we can deliver. So so we can text too, but we really would prefer not to push our volunteers that direction.
Okay, and just one comment on that. I have put my name on those is because I often see a lot of Common Power people on the text banks on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And I put my name as Deborah Jacobs, Common Power. And I just think, even though we introduce ourselves as being part of Common Power in the introductions, I think it helps if we stick with doing that in addition to potentially phone banking.
Hey, everybody hear what Deborah just said? Our names from the rest of our work is your name, comma, Common Power when we're doing this work. Okay. I'm totally with you there. Actually, we, as you know, we do that. And people like, they constantly say like, oh my God, oh my God, good. Here comes the Common Power Armada. Right. So thank you.
I think that point that David raises about who comes into the phone banks and the fact that we're half of them. Whenever I think about that, it makes me, I have two emotions. One is I'm super proud of us. And the other emotion is that I'm scared, like, why the hell is this ragtag group from Seattle half of your phone bank room? Half. Deborah Peoples and that Fort Worth election was on every major news network. It was in every newspaper. Everybody who was in politics was talking about it and writing about it. There were hundreds of groups. There were 100 groups that were larger than us that did not send volunteers to help Deborah Peoples in the phone bank, but we did. And so there's a unique positioning. There's a unique place that CP exists in, where because we know better, and for those of you that go to AJ's events, you understand what I'm going to say next. We must do better. We know that we are the majority of the people. We know that we are the difference makers in those phone bank rooms. And so if you've got the knowledge, you've got to take the action. And so we've got to show up for this. We have to push past because nobody else is. It's not like we're taking up someone else's spot. If we leave, it's not like somebody replaces us. If you don't choose the phone bank, it's not like we've got someone else who's going to fill in for you. That's one less person making phone calls for these really important reasons. So that's my appeal. Keep calling or start calling.
And we will, and this is just an advocacy push. We're talking about a limited amount of time here, right? But we will continue to do phone banking in addition to in-person work after COVID, because some people actually, phone banking is much easier. It's more mobile accessible to them. It's an easier thing for them to do, right? So we know there's value here. We believe in it. And it's nobody's favorite. There aren't a lot of people I know that love it. But out of 200 plus organizations that are part of this national coalition, there's slight partnerships. Our ties are not strong, but all of these organizations, how is it that when we go to a common cause phone bank that is for the whole coalition, there's 10 people there and we're 5 of them? Well, this is a lane we can fill. Yeah, Damadina, please.
Yeah, so I was on the phone banking for West Virginia. So it's like we're contacting people to get them to, talk to Joe Manchin's office. So that's one thing. It's like, and then, but I myself could call Joe Manchin's office. It's like like the phone banking can be really tiring, but if I pick up the phone and I call the senators, somebody always answers. Sometimes I get a real person. It's always like kind of a very pleasant experience. I get to say what I think. So is it more powerful if the West Virginians call Joe Manchin?
It is slightly more powerful. It is. That is true. Because you often will get asked a zip code. Not always, but you often will. However, it's not so much more powerful that we don't do our own direct to senator contacts. We do. We don't actually have Manchin on our list though, because so many people in West Virginia are contacting Manchin that we don't need to. But so many times when we call senators or tweet at them, we don't get asked our zip code. So it's still useful for us to do it. But it is a little bit more powerful for a constituent of a candidate to call. It is.
Mhm. Yeah, okay, thanks for that.
Sure. All right, other questions, folks? Anybody else want to weigh in or have a question or comment? Phone banks start for the Saturday.
Can I just comment that I am fascinated by Kim's ability to cook while she's watching this? You're very talented. And I'm wondering what I see your arms moving like you're slicing open a fish or something. Or you do.
Just doing some vegetable chopping, but that's
Okay.
hilarious that you noticed. Sorry if it's
I did. No, I love it. You're committed. You're like, I'm not going to miss this.
That's right.
And I'm going to watch and people are going to see me watching. It's actually inspirational. I feel like I need to be more productive while I'm sitting here. We appreciate having you. Thank you.
David, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
Sorry, are the oh, I'm losing the word for it. Oh, there were a couple of short videos about phone banking that we used on Team Texas. They're on our resources page on Mobilize. Do you want me to send those over to Kylie for putting on to Team Advocacy's Mobilize page for folks? They're very short. They're the ones I sent you back when
right.
we started.
Daniel, please, Daniel.
Daniel, okay.
Yep, that's awesome. Thanks, Nancy.
Yep.
Great. Well, Kim is cooking and I appreciate that. John is up in the mountains. I don't know if you can all tell this, but John is way up in the mountains. And Elizabeth, you have the room raider background. I really like your background. That's really comfortable. Looks really good. Lori, Lori's on some hike right now. You see where Lori, I don't know what's going on there with Lori. Martha has made like 1 billion phone calls from that upstairs study, wherever that is. Okay. At her place. Jerry looks like he's ready to just like, hey man, whatever you bring at me, I'm ready. Okay. Rebecca's always got questions and always ready to go. Deborah here is like texting with Common Cause probably right now while we're on the phone. Okay. Don Medina is going to go make some calls. Okay. Like right now with, to folks. Nancy's going to send us some videos. This is community, folks. This is community. It's not like we're in a commune, but and that's good. That's good. we're like, it's like good community. Like we're healthy here. This is good. Look, Susan
on an airplane.
Something. What is up?
Wow, this is good. We're like one-upping each other here, huh? This is good. Way to get in your little common power, like on the way to a flight. Way to go. Oh wait, you're on mute.
Sorry, we're heading home. Back to Seattle.
Okay.
Saw family, first time since July, so we're ready to dig in and start.
Awesome.
We have 8 emergency exits.
Oh, you still got your buzz on. Okay, never mind. It's cool.
Our doors are equipped with evacuation slides.
I can mute Sue. Deborah, your question, can you go ahead and say it out loud, please?
Sure. Last week when we had our community meeting, you talked about the Virginia educational trip. And then you mentioned a few days after that there might be that there might be some action happening in Virginia, and you didn't talk about it anymore. It's not on the calendar. And I just wondered, should I be holding those dates? Because I can't come to the educational.
Yes. So is it the 30th? I think it's the 30th we're looking at, right, David? It's a Thursday. So the educational thing, it ends on the 28th and there's a day break. And then on the 30th, that's when folks are going to start arriving in Virginia. And we're not sure exactly the city, but anywhere from Richmond on up to Fairfax? No. What's the northern city?
Alexandria, Fairfax, they're all up there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a kind of a two-hour drive window, but anywhere around there is where we're gonna be working in, maybe even more places. But that's gonna be for, I think I'd block out that Thursday to Wednesday.
Okay.
And we've pretty much confirmed that with our partner, New Virginia Majority. So they're
Good.
getting ready for us to work. We're going to direct everyone to that week. We may go again, like maybe 2 weeks after that. So if you're looking at traveling, that's the date that we know for sure we're going to start that first round of work. We're doing 2 trips to Virginia though, maybe even 3. So the middle of October is another time frame that we have not defined yet. And then I am like pledging to be on the ground in Virginia for that last GOTV push right before election day, through election day, and leaving the day after. Because being there with the local partner org on the ground after whatever the result of the election is really important for community building with them.
So since people's calendars are crazily filling, people are traveling again, can any of these dates, or are they somewhere maybe on the Virginia page that we will be and might be traveling?
That's good. Yeah, we're having these conversations right now. So now that you're saying this, I'm actually just realizing. So it's funny, we've done this for years, and like all of a sudden in 2020 we like forgot how to do this. David, we've got to block out the calendar on the CP events page that just says travel window for Virginia. We don't have a Virginia page up yet. That's actually in development. We're still gathering details from our local partner. But I do remember now we had these windows. We were like, hey, we got to send these out early.
Yeah, Deborah, so from the 30th to whatever, like the several 5 or 6 days, that's the first window for sure.
Yep.
For sure. The other dates will be directed by New Virginia Majority a little bit, but Charles is pretty much saying there will be some travel around that last weekend before Election Day too. Okay, so there's another for sure period that is roughly Thursday to Friday of that, before that last weekend through the Tuesday. The Tuesday night. Yeah.
So some more detail on that. I'm seeing some questions here. So we've realized that that we can only work for 3 or 4 days effectively straight. And so we fly in on a day, and that's usually not a work day. So everyone can fly in at different times of day, depending on when they want to fly in. So that's the 30th. Work will start on that Friday. So we'll work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. And most folks start to get to their limit on Monday, where they realize I'm doing half a day on Monday or something, or I'm gonna call it on Monday. And then people usually fly out on Tuesday or Monday night or something like that. What does work entail? Well, I'll tell you, it's not the easiest thing. When we say that we're going to spend our time doing the work for the partner, we really, really do the work. So we will wake up in the morning and have coffee together, light breakfast or something, depending on the hotel folks you're staying at. We'll meet at the campaign office or the org office at like 9 or 10 a.m. They'll probably do a training that'll last about an hour or so, and some meet and greet with them, some education about who they are. And then we go and we work for, a good 4 hours. We work up until about lunchtime, 3-4 hours, depending on when we actually get out onto the streets. We walk the neighborhoods, we knock on doors. That's what we do. They give us these maps that are called turfs. And then we go and we walk around, knock on doors and talk to voters. And we say, hey, same exact thing you say on the phone. You knock on the door and you say, hey, I'm here on behalf of this campaign or this organization. We'd like for you to think about voting in this fall. Here are the dates. You know when your precinct is. Do you have everything you need to vote? All that. And then you go to the next door. These are all maps that are pre-put together by these folks. And then we go to lunch together. We all hang out at a local restaurant. Because of COVID, we may have to find some place outside. But after that, then what do? We go to sleep, right? No, we go back to work and we go knock on doors again for another 3-4 hours. And we're knocking on doors all the way into dinner time, because that's when we got to catch the voters. And this is the kind of thing that these organizations have never seen. This is what they're not used to. And the craziest part about this is that we don't go home. We come back the next morning and we do it again. And we go back the next morning after that and do it again for an entire day. And they're blown away. And we are dead dog tired because walking for 3 days straight and talking for 3 days straight is more than many of us have done, especially having been in quarantine for a while. So we're going to pace ourselves in this. The best part about all of it is that it's never alone. And you're walking in people and you're in a neighborhood with somebody that you just met through CP, and you're getting to know them and hear about their kids and grandkids. And it's a heck of an event. The most important question here, when do we drink? Oh yeah, every evening. Every single evening. And actually didn't know this. I really, David and I had discussions about, I told him, I was like, hey, we got to get more young people involved in this. And he goes, Charles, what do you think the difference is in how the young people are going to do their trip? He's like, they're probably going to want to hang out more and drink more. And I was like, no, nobody drinks more than retired folks. I learned this. I thought otherwise. But dinner and wine go together very often. And it's not half a bottle of wine. It's not one bottle. When you get social, it's multiple bottles of wine. And I learned this. I usually stop drinking before the members of my team did. And that's something either to look forward to for some of you, or maybe a reason why you don't want to go. But it's a good time. Rest assured, it's a really good time.
Two things I'll just add for introverts. Actually, door knocking is an incredibly introverted thing. You don't talk to a ton of people. And when you do, you're talking to one person. Okay. I find it very invigorating, even though I prefer those one-on-ones. That's great. And second, walking neighborhoods with someone else, seeing the world out there, and we're always doing it directed by our partners, and they direct us to the neighborhoods that they want us in, and that we, a largely white volunteer community, can do the best work in. The reality is that they guide us. Okay, they direct us. That's where the partnerships make such a difference. So it is not like phone banking. It is not. It is invigorating. Although I know phone banking can be that for occasionally for people, but this is exactly what people come to Common Power for before COVID. They came for this.
Yeah, in Virginia, at that time of year, it's so beautiful. The weather and the people and the smells and the food and the birds and it's a pleasure to walk through that part of the country that time of year.
Yeah, Rebecca, we do. It just depends who they've got there, right? Yep. So hey, everybody, we're gonna jump off here, but Charles, I think we're gonna need an electoral launch kind of evening thing where we talk about the Virginia work, the dates, what it looks like, all of that, because we have so many folks who haven't traveled for a long time or never traveled with us.
Yeah, I know. I'm realizing that from these questions. And I'm also realizing that I've got to remember the answers to some of these because it's been so long. But it's all good memories. And I look forward to seeing you all, many of you, for the first time in person. It's going to be great. It's going to be catalyzing for many of us and reaffirming. It's reaffirming to go out and be in the communities that the voters we talk to, that they live in. It's good stuff.
All right,
thanks everybody for coming.
We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Kim, we gotta do dinner or something, or I gotta come over for dinner. I'm inviting myself over for dinner.
This is the long game. This is the long game right here, okay?
It's all about food at CP, really.
I have a quick question. You're talking
Sure.
about the 30th. Is it June 30th that you're talking about?
Oh no, September.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, Rebecca. No. Well, actually, wait. The in-person event that we have been talking about for this is the 30th of June.
But that's here in Seattle or remote.
Yes,
Yep.
And then the travel to Virginia, thank you. It just happens to also be on the 30th.
Okay. Hey,
on,
I
on the 30th of September. That's great. That's great.
thought I probably missed something because, June 30th is like 2 weeks, so.
I know. We're like, we're doing that to ourselves, but we're trying to meet the moment.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Rebecca. See you later.
Thanks.
I'm going to close it up. See y'all later.
See you, man.